Os. Welcome UNLV students to the Shotokan Karate Studies program. By now you should know you've already warmed up, you've gotten the warm-up that you feel your body needs, you're adequate for starting the program this morning. So let's go ahead and get started with our typical, quick, general warm-up. Ready? And Hajime. Ichi. Ni. San. Yon. Go. All right, warmed up good there. Let's turn to the side, bring our heels to our glutes. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and do some high knees as well. Get my workout recorded, here we go. High knees. You can do this slow, just like I'm doing. Again, just bringing your knees up. You can do it fast if you feel like kind of bouncing a little bit, working your calves a little bit. Or if you want to go slow, go slow. And yame. All right, let's come up on our toes, stretching out our calves. And yame. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and do some body hip twists. And yame. Good. Arm up, across the side, stretching out our shoulder. Good, other side. Again, don't hold these too long. Just doing dynamic stretches here. Nothing too static, nothing being held for too long. Switching over. Other side. Good. Feet just widen shoulder width. Go down, touch the floor. Go to the right. Back to center. Go to the left. Back to center. All right, make that a little wider. We're gonna go down to the right, turning up on our left heel, stretching out our hamstring. Good, now we're gonna turn to the left in a long front stance. Pushing on the quad here, pushing the knee over the toe. And down to a runner stand, or a runner stretch. Good. Back up. All right, we're gonna do everything to the other side now. Leaning to the left onto the right heel. Toes pointed up. Stretching out your hamstring. All right, let's rotate that all the way around. Good front stance, long, deep, pushing on the quad, pushing the knee out over the toe, getting a good stretch. Transition that into a runner stretch. And come back to center, come back standing. Good. Turn around, fix your gi. Back to me. Yoi. Subirachi. Free. Yoi. Seiza. Dojo-kun. 一つ、人格完成に人を盛ること。一つ、誠の道を守ること。一つと力の精神を養うこと。一つ、礼儀を重んずること。一つ、景気の湯を戒めること。Ready? That's it. よい。しばらくち。Ready? よい。So today's class is a beginner class, but it's also an intermediate class. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put that at the bottom of the screen so that you can clearly understand that this is kind of both. All right. And it may be a little bit advanced for my beginner students, and it may be a little bit too remedial for my intermediate students, which is why I want to introduce this kind of as a mixed class. All right. So what we're talking about today is blocks. All right. And what I'm trying to get away from is the traditional style of blocking when it comes to real street fighting or any type of kumite. All right. Because what you tend to get a lot of from the comments online or whatever, even when you're speaking with someone about learning karate or taking karate, they say, well, no one punches in such a straight linear fashion, right? So typically in a street fight or in a bar fight or something like that, no one's going to punch you like this, right? Therefore, you're not going to block like this, right? Everything's very linear in what we do here, because you're kind of, again, and I've said this many times, is you're laying this foundation, right? So that once you have the foundation, it's very easy to kind of move up from there and understand the real application of some of these blocks, and not really it kind of pulls away from the fundamental part, but you have to have that foundation to understand how you get to the next level, okay? So, yes, we all have these blocks that we go through pretty regularly, right? We go through our Age-uke rising blocks, our Geto-Morai down block, our Uchi-uke inside block, and our Soto-uke outside block, as well as a Shuto-uke knife hand block. Right? And there's many other blocks that can come along with that. There's Juji-uke where you're coming up, right? There's this right across block whether it's down or up. There's those type of blocks. There's Moroto-uke, which maybe some of my beginners may not quite know yet, but a Moroto-uke, which would be a supported block, right? So there's a lot of blocks, but again, they're very linear. And whenever you look at them in kata, that's how they appear as well. And you can really take some of the kata and implement how those blocks might actually be, right? And we've worked with some of these blocks with our bag, where we actually talk about Age-uke maybe not being a block. It could also be a strike, right? Where you're moving in and striking across someone's face, across their neck, up in that area, right? So it's not necessarily a block in that case. So it can also be a break in some cases, right? So if someone has punched and you go to block, then you can grab and step again and break, right? You keep control of that arm. So there's a lot of application, and really what karate is about is finding your own karate. So as a sensei and as someone who teaches, I can only teach you as much as I know, and I can only put you in situations that I feel comfortable putting you in. Now, you can put yourself in other situations that make you more or less comfortable, but you end up finding new ways of doing techniques or learning a different way of using that same technique in a variety of ways, all right? So let's talk about, again, some of these other types of blocks that you may use. And again, I want to try to stay away from it being too linear. And for my beginner students, I want you to understand that being linear is okay. It's all right to be in these, these straight blocks, right, that are very linear and low, right, as we step and do these various blocks, okay, because they are important. And I don't want to pull you away from that. I want you to keep training in that way so that you're still doing these blocks proficiently, because you have to build on that to get to where we're talking about today, where you're kind of putting these blocks into real practice, right? So let's talk about some of these blocks, right? There's 6, and then that last one, number 6, can kind of break down into 2 more, so maybe you can probably look at about 8 blocks here, right? And because in karate, typically in a dojo, all right, whenever you say, all right, throw an oizuki punch, I'm going to block with age-uke rising block. Typically what that student will do is punch, okay? Sometimes they'll punch a little bit higher, right? They'll punch to your face or maybe even to your forehead because they know that age-uke rising block is coming, right? They know what you're going to do to defend it, so it gives you the opportunity to get that block back and up in the air and gives you more strength. But also, you tend to kind of be muscling up, right, that block. Because as it's coming back, unless you're doing what I've told you before, where you kind of go more linear, and at the last second, it's turning out and deflecting, okay, which is what all blocks are, is a deflection or receiving, okay. At the last moment, it's a turn, right? Same thing with Gedan. Last moment, it turns and goes out. Uchi-uke, it's up, 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 turn. It turns as it goes out. Soto-ryuke comes in, out and then turns, right? And each one of those turns is a deflection in motion. It's already in the motion of the strike that's coming in, right? When you think about that, okay? Age-uke, if that punch is coming and driving, it's driving straight to me. I am deflecting, and as my arm rolls, it's allowing that punch to continue moving. So I'm not absorbing the strike. I'm not blocking, right? I'm not actually blocking it and keeping it from going anywhere. I'm deflecting it and allowing it to keep moving on its path. Okay? So when you think about the other blocks as well, Gedan, the kick is coming in or a low punch is coming in. As it comes in, you're just deflecting it and allowing it to roll off. Okay? Uchi-uke, as the punch comes in potentially to your chest, it's rolling off. You're allowing it to roll off, okay? Soto-ryuke is coming this direction, or it's coming this direction, but you want it to roll off there. So you're allowing it to roll, right, as you deflect, okay? So think about that as well whenever you're doing these style of blocks, whenever you're doing it with a partner especially, allow that punch to roll. Allow contact with your opponent, and then watch the roll occur as the block continues through, okay? It's harder to do with a kick, right? Because you can't really slow motion the kick. But a low punch, okay, a punch to your gut or your stomach, right? A hook punch, as that comes in and you decide to block it, and you're twisting and rolling, okay? Uchi-uke is you twist and roll it. Uri-uke is you twist and roll it. Allow that to happen slowly, okay? So you can feel it. Right? Be in contact with your partner so that you can kind of understand what that deflection and that roll feels like as it's moving and being deflected. Okay? And my apologies in advance, this class is probably not going to be a whole lot of moving around. We're not going to be jumping around and doing a lot of blocks and kicks, and you're not going to get a good fitness workout from this. I have tons of other videos where we're doing those types of drills. But what I want to talk about is blocks, and that's what we're really talking about. So this really is a class where you're just listening to me talk about these things, and you'll get to practice them. So I do want to get to that, all right? So as I said, there's about 6 of these various blocks that you would use in a typical fight, okay? And it's not going to be these linear style blocks, but we draw from those linear style blocks in order to get to these, okay? So there is an out, right? So it's kind of like you're waving. You're just kind of bringing your hand up, okay? Your fighting stance is not going to be a long and linear front stance, okay? And if someone is engaging in your fight, you're not going to stand here like this and just be present like a mannequin. You're probably going to try to engage a little bit, slightly, okay? Your left foot, if you're right-handed, your left foot is typically going to be forward, and you're going to be ready for an attack, ready to receive an attack. So your hands may be up, which is what you want. Because your hands can be up here for to guard your face, or down low to guard your body low. or right here in the middle to guard your chest and your stomach. Again, your soft targets in here. Okay, so you want to keep your hands up and understand that someone is coming in to attack. So let's look at this first block. It's simply a wave. Okay. As a punch comes in, like I talked about before, in karate, in the dojo, someone's going to punch and they're going to hold that punch out there, and it gets blocked and moved up to the top. And it stays there until you reset or move on to the next key on technique. In a fight, no one punches like this. Okay? The punch is quick. Okay? If I'm sitting here and you're standing there, I'm going to punch you. I'm just going to go punch. Punch. Right? It's fast. It moves very quickly. Okay? You don't have time to and rise and block. By the time you're up here, that hand is already back. Okay, that hand has already moved back away. They've already cocked up their next punch. So you don't have time to step back and do this very linear rising block. Okay, now I'm going to step forward to the next rising block. And then I'm going to do this uchi-uke block. All right, everything's going to be fast. So this is just a quick, your hands are up, that punch comes in, wave it off. And I don't mean wave it off and just, there's nothing. You are striking. It's still that rounding, the turning out of your hand. Okay? If it comes from the other side, you're just turning out your hand. Again, same thing from this side, turning out. Punch comes from the other side, turning out. You're not having to alternate your stance. Okay? Just because the punch is coming from here, you're not turning to here, and then it comes from here and you're turning to here. You can stay in this stance, and then that punch comes, there. That punch comes, there. All right? It's kind of like you're waving. Okay, your hands are up, and you're just waving, 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 waving. All right? Always keep hands up close to your face to guard your face from attacks in your jawline. That's what's going to knock you out. Okay, so again, your hands are up, waving it off, and move out of the way. All right? Don't stand directly in front of a punch that's coming at you. You see the punch coming? You don't want to stand here and absorb it. Step over. Step over. Okay? Get out of the way of that punch that's coming in so you're not in direct contact. If it does contact you, right, there's less contact. There's less force. Okay? So again, that's the first block, is just a regular out block. Okay? Comes from the inside and goes out. So it's out, out. All right? Let me change direction here for you just so you can see that again. So you see the punch coming, it's out, out. Okay? Out, out. All right? And we're going to get to counters as we get closer to, once we get through all of these, but I want to just get the blocks in. Okay? So again, I'm going to turn to this side, and as you see the punch coming, you're going out, out. Small steps with your feet. Okay? Triangular steps. It's referred to often as taisabaki, where you're just kind of stepping offline. If you just watch my feet, I'm coming to here. Okay? So I'm not just stepping over, I'm kind of going at an angle up here and turn. Okay? I'm offline of the attack. The punch is coming from that side. Same thing, right? My feet being here, I'm kind of looking to go here. Here, okay? Or over here. Getting offline of that attack. If the punch is coming from this side, I'm going to move offline. If it's coming from this side, I'm going to move offline. And try to go in about that 30 to 45 degree angle, so when that punch comes, you're over here. Okay? The punch comes, and you're over here. Alright? So think about that. Okay, the next block I want to talk about is this inside block. Alright, so I know we typically talk about this being an inside block, but do you have time for this? The shortest distance between 2 points is what? A straight line. If someone's punching, that's the shortest distance. If they're already making that move, do I have time to circle it out? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Okay? Number one, your mind has to react to it. Are you faster than them and being able to? Yes, you can slap it out of the way, tie sabaki over to the side to block it, hold it, but you're not going to stand here and go, uchi-uke, right? You're going to move quickly and over to the side. That said, you can also just move it down. So when the punch comes, slap it down. Punch comes from the other side, slap it down. All right? So again, it's not a block. We're not absorbing. all right? We're not a shield, okay? We're not absorbing a punch that's coming in. We are moving out of the way of it and redirecting the force of the punch. 90% of all attacks are going to be going for your face. From here up, where 90% of an attack is going to come from. No one really cares very much about just punching you in the stomach, all right? No one really, and most people don't care about kicks, right? In a bar, something like that, you're not going to get a lot of kicks. You're going to get one punch. You're going to get one haymaker that they hope is going to knock you out. One punch that they hope is going to make you rethink whatever they think you did or whatever it happens to be. Okay? So again, if you're just getting out of the way of that and they can understand that, there's a couple of things it makes them do. Number one, it makes them rethink the situation. This guy just defended that. Maybe I need to rethink whether I want to attack him again. Right? So again, we're stepping over to the side. When that punch is coming from here, you're moving in a different direction. Instead of blocking here and stepping over, the same punch comes, you're stepping over here. All right? That other punch is coming from this direction. Okay? Instead of going here, you're going there. All right? So it is kind of a slap down. But you are still having to move. Okay? The punch comes, out of the way. Punch comes, out of the way. All right? Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I'm moving in a straight line to get out of the way. 1, punch comes, 2. Okay? That's much faster than you going 1, 2, or 1, 2. Correct? All right? So when you see these, I just want you to get out of the way. The punch comes, out of the way. Again, out of the way. Okay? Because sometimes some of these punches are going to come in a barrage. Sometimes you're not going to have just that one, I hope this lands and knocks him out. Sometimes they're just going to come at you just throwing punches, hoping 1 or 2 land. If just one lands, this is what they're hoping. But if you're able to get out of the way, defend, okay? There's a lot more that you can do within that, and we'll get there, okay? So we have your wave out, right? We have the wave out, right? We have the slap in, all right? So again, it's in, all right? There's also just a slap down that kind of looks, it's more, as the punch comes in, you're just slapping. It's just slap, slap. You're not really getting out of the way as much as you're just backing up, okay? So I'm going to just get closer to you. As it's coming in, you're just feigning, okay? Just get them out of the way. Get these small things out of the way, okay? Just slapping them back, slapping them down, get them out of the way. These hard punches are the ones that you're actually blocking and moving, slapping out of the way, slapping out of the way. It's these soft punches that you're just trying to get out of the way of, right? That barrage would just hope something lands, okay? That's what this slap down is. Just get out of the way. Back up or back offline, okay? That's the slap down. It's fairly simple. But again, you can easily have a partner come at you with any of these and you can defend them rather quickly, all right? Without getting into a hard stance, right? Stepping into a back stance or something like that, okay? So let's talk about the next block, number 4. This would be like a circle block. And this is very similar to a Gato, okay? So it doesn't have to be a kick that you're blocking, all right? It's still circular, still circling down, okay? But you don't have to move, okay? And it covers both left and right. So if you're right-handed and you're just doing this, it can block both sides, okay? I know that's odd sounding, right? But if someone is throwing like an uppercut, probably to your gut here, all right, trying to catch you under your ribs, or they're trying to catch you to your face and they're coming up, all right? Again, this circle block can move that out of the way. You can't really do this to uppercuts, all right? You can't slap these uppercuts out of the way, but you can circle them down, all right? When you see that uppercut coming, it's circle down,
right? And whether it's a right or a left, typically it's still coming right here, all right? Most all of your blocks are going to take place in this sphere right here. It's as if you're holding like a medicine ball or a beach ball, okay? You can hold that beach ball about right here. Everything is going to happen within this circle. Agayuke ends up here. Getabrai ends way down here. Uchiuke ends out here. Sotoryuke ends out here. That's outside of my ball, right? So most interaction of these blocks takes place within the circle. You make contact here and then deflect out here. Contact happens here, deflection ends out there. Gedan happens here, ends out here, but starts and deflection begins all through here, right? So again, with this circle block, all these other blocks, again, this, and this all happen in this same sphere, within that same beach ball, right? These slap blocks, they happen all within this sphere, okay? Imagine the sphere, the center of the sphere being right here, maybe right at your sternum. You still have that sphere right in front of your face, so half of the ball comes up to about here, the other half down to here, and goes out about shoulder width. Okay, imagine that as your sphere of where everything is taking place. Okay, your blocks, all right, these circle blocks, all right. Whether you decide to step back or not is up to you, and I'll look at another attack that may come from that. But again, uppercuts come right in here, all right. They're going to defend and punch up and in. So all you're doing is circling it out. Get it out, get it out. Okay? Same side. Out, same side in, get it out. Okay? So it doesn't matter whether they're throwing left or right. If you're good with your right hand, block it out. Comes in with the other hand, step out a little further and block it out. Okay? Inside here, it's there. Comes from here, it's still there. You're still able to move out of that block. Okay? If it's still coming again from their right or their left, okay? So if it's a left-hand punch coming to my right side, I can, as that uppercut comes in, block it out there with that circle block. Okay? I can also do it as it comes in with the right, stepping in and circle block. Okay? So there's a lot that you can do with this little circle block, and it is very Gaidon reminiscent, right? It looks very much like a Gaidon block, and it kind of is, but there's just that circle element to it. Okay? So think about that. And again, get away from kicks. Get away from thinking about kicks too much, right? Because it's not going to happen very often. You're not really going to get that person that's going to be throwing leg kicks, right? Good hard round kicks that are coming in, side kicks and things like that. You're looking at punches that are probably most likely coming for your face. 90% of any street fight or bar fight situation is going to start with a punch to your face. And if you're able to defend it, okay, if you see it coming, you can step out of the way. That's what your goal is. Protection, defend against that first one, get into some counters, which we'll do, and then escape and get away, get help. Okay, or just run, right? I'm not ever telling you to stay into a fight. Just because the fight starts doesn't mean you have to end it. It doesn't mean that you have to engage in it for the entire time. If someone's throwing a punch and you're just able to do that and then turn and get away, great. Good job. I've taught you well. Okay, we'll get into some counters in a moment. All right. So another block that I want to look at is a wing block. All right. So wing blocks. For those of you who know hand sandan, right? My intermediate students do know hand sandan. My beginners, some of you may know it. All right, so hand sandan, you kind of do this when you're in horse stance and you do this block, right? Someone's punching me from this side and I'm deflecting that over to the side. The deflection happens right about here, about elbow up, okay? Maybe a little lower than your elbow. So maybe from about here to about here is what you're using as your deflection point. So if someone throws a punch and you're just able to deflect it, that's kind of what you're doing. Right, your hands are up, you're looking for something to come at you. When you see that punch, you can just kind of deflect it that way. Again, using this. See that punch coming? Left, deflect it. Right, deflect it. Okay? It's just a little wing block. It's very quick, but it guards several things, okay? It blocks up here. You can still keep your other hand up back here to guard your face, right? So as you see it coming, it guards your face, it deflects the punch over to the side, and lines you up again with a potential dead side of their body that you're able to attack. But again, your initial response in most cases is going to be to flinch and throw your hands up to protect your face. It's just your body's natural response. It doesn't mean you're scared, it doesn't mean that you're afraid or anything like that, or you have this fight or flight response. That's just your body's natural movement. Okay, if something is flying toward my face, I'm going to throw my hands up to defend my face and my head. All right? So as that punch comes in, you still have that wing block. Okay? Again, it comes from the other side. Block it out. Typically, it's whatever's forward. So if my left is forward and I see that right punch coming in, deflect it. Okay? Now, if my left is forward or my right is forward and I see that left coming, I can deflect it. And again, I can come up here with my hand, make sure my face is okay. All right? So again, you see it coming, deflect it, my hand can come up and help protect my face. All right? So again, this is just something that you can kind of see. This one doesn't really work for both sides. All right? This is, if you're set up here and you see it coming, this right-handed punch coming, that's a good deflection. That left is coming, it's not really a good deflection. You're kind of stepping your arm into it or letting it punch your bicep, which isn't going to feel good. All right? So when that left is coming, that's when you're going to want to do one of these. Okay? All right? Or one of those. Okay? But you don't want to wing block the left with your right arm, with your left arm. Okay? That right's coming, yes, wing block it. That right's coming, wing block it, move it out of the way. Let it deflect, let them reset. Okay? Let them know at that point they're dealing with someone who potentially knows what they're doing. Maybe someone that they want to take a step back and say, this might not be someone that I want to contend with any further. Right? I threw that punch, that wing block checked it, and now I'm back to reset. Now what am I going to do? I'm about to look like a fool? Maybe I just want to stop. Okay? Having these very simple, quick interactions where you're able to just deflect something and be ready for the next thing can really de-escalate a situation quickly. Okay? So that's your wing block. Again, it's kind of an elbow-ish type of deflection. All right? So again, if your right is forward, there, the left is forward, there. Throw that arm up. Deflect with all of this. Okay? Let them walk into that elbow. You never know. All right? But that's a good option, is this wing block. All right? So we have this wave out. Okay? We have this slap down. Okay? We have this style of slap where you're just kind of staying in the center. All right? We have our circle down. We have our wing. Okay? And the last one, number 6, which again you can kind of break down into something else, would be a two-handed block out in front. Typically your hand's going to be here anyway. That punch is coming to a shoot-on level. As long as you can do something here with your two hands, this is a typical block that works. Okay? As that punch comes in, maybe it's coming right between these two hands and you're able to elbow, hand, trap and break that arm, right? As that punch comes in, here and here, pressure there, okay? You're able to quickly break that arm. Or hurt that elbow enough that maybe they're going to decide on doing something else. So again, it's just simple, just right there. But maybe it doesn't come straight in here. Maybe you don't have the perfect mousetrap, all right? You're not that fast. When someone punches in, as long as you're able to get that arm away and defend, right? Maybe they're just punching your hand, but you're slapping that away a little bit. But you still have your hands up, okay? Again, a left comes in or a right comes in. It doesn't matter. Your hands are here, okay? It doesn't matter your stance, left or right. You can defend left or right. So this and 1 through 4, yeah, you can pretty much defend against either side. Your wing, number 5, that one is probably going to be your same side. Okay, so if they're punching right, you're defending left. If they're punching left, you're defending right. Right? All the rest, you can kind of do both. Okay? out, out. All right. So that one is going to be the same. That one's kind of the same as the wing when you wave out, because as that right punch comes in, you're blocking out with your left. As that left punch comes in, you're blocking out with your right. All right. The slap down can work here. It's probably not going to work as well with a left coming in. It may, but probably not. So again, this is going to be as a right hand comes in, as a left hand comes in. Okay? And then when you get to your circles, that can work with both, as I said, because you can move it in, move it in. It doesn't matter if you're punching here or here, your target is very small, right? Your target is much smaller. It's not as wide as out here. It's much smaller here. So this and this work for both a left or a right. Okay? The wing, again, left arm for a right punch, right arm for a left punch for that deflection. Okay? The two hands out in front, again, they can come from either side, and if you're able to catch and break, that's good. If you're able to just deflect and get everything off to one side, good. But you at least have two hands out here to help try and make that deflection happen. There, or right there. All right? That's your two hand. Now that two hand can extend up. All right? Maybe someone's coming down in a stabbing motion, a stick, a knife, their hand, a bottle. Having both hands here converts to this very quickly, right? These two hands are here, can come here. If that strike is coming higher, you have that. It's very quick. It's not stepping back into that, which may work. Okay, so I'm not saying that these linear blocks aren't going to work and that you won't use them, but in a situation where you're limited on space, potentially, and speed, this is much faster than that. Okay, even stepping back with the same side, okay, there's less power. And again, you're muscling up with one hand to try to block something that you can block up with two. Okay. That same two hand out front, okay, one right here, two right there, three can be here, okay? All right, I know you've seen that before. I know you've seen someone do that. Someone's kicking at you, or not at you, but someone's kicking at someone, throwing these wild punches and they don't know what else to do, so they almost do this fetal position in the air. That's what this is. It's this. Okay. This hand goes to block here, your other hand comes up to block your face. What does that defend against? Lots of things, right? It can defend against a hand coming around, a bottle coming around, a stick coming around, a baseball bat swinging around, a baton swinging around, a round kick, right? All those things can be defended with that. Right? You want that baseball bat crashing into your head or your leg, your knee, when you can kind of check it here. Okay? Get into it. Same thing on the other side. You just get into it, right? I'd rather have it hit that than my soft targets here or my head. All right? So just think about that one. I'm going to turn to the side for that one because, again, it's a little bit awkward. As that kick comes in, it's here. All right, you're standing on your left leg, your right leg comes up, your right hand goes just above or in contact with your knee, your left hand defends your face. Okay? Step into it and move forward. Okay? It doesn't have to be a retreat. All right? It can be a move forward. Switching sides. Left leg comes up. You're standing on your right leg. Your left hand goes to your knee. Your right hand comes up to defend your face. Okay? Or step into it. Okay? So, if you decide to step into it, you're kind of closing distance, right? Which will help with counterattacks. All right. I feel like we're going long, but I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so I may split this, but we'll see. Anyways, So what we've talked about before when we were using the bag when we did these combos, where we constantly stayed in contact with the target, right? Where we were staying within arm's length, that we step out here with age and then come around, shuto, come around, kick, and then step in with that soto yuke. You kind of want to do the same thing here, all right? You don't want to give your opponent enough time to get in 2 strikes, all right? That one punch should be the only opportunity they have to attack you. You're going to defend it, and you're going to counterattack, and you're going to retreat. Okay? That's very important. So, working with a partner, you need to think about all those things. Okay? So I may go ahead and do that. So, in the next class, we're going to take these simple blocks, okay? These more street-oriented style blocks, and we're going to use them to block and counter. All right, so that's what I want to work on in the next class. So it will be, as a punch comes in, you have this, okay, you have this, you have your center slaps, right? You have your circle down, okay? It doesn't have to be a fist, it doesn't have to look exactly gate on the ride, but circling down and getting that punch moved out of this space is important, all right? And then you have your wings, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, right? How's that? And then you have your 2-hand, which evolves into a couple other things. You have your 2-hand here, which can snap, deflect, or lock up, okay? Or you can defend. Okay, so again, there. Your 2 hands are helping. So it's a 2-handed style of block. So that last one, number 6, that 2-hand can go 2-hand out in front, 2-hand up high, or a defense here and here. All right? So again, in the next class, we're going to go take each one of those blocks and immediately counter. So immediately, we're going to counter, either put our target or our opponent on the ground, get in a good strike where they're defenseless, and then retreat. Okay? Because that's what's most important, is you being able to walk away from that street fight encounter. All right. So hopefully you got something out of this class. Hopefully, I know I talked a lot, and you probably didn't get a lot of exercise out of this. In this next class, you may not get as much. I'll try to convert it so that you're kind of getting a little bit more practice into what we're doing. So you'll kind of do the block and then execute a counter of some sort. So we'll get a little bit more of a workout going for the next sort of part 2 of this part 1 class. All right. So again, this is going to be for my beginners and my intermediates. I will make sure that I put part 1 on this one and part 2 on the next one. So you just have to wait a week between the 2 classes. But a great way to at least start practicing the blocks for a week. And then when part 2 comes out, you can work with the counters on those. Okay? Let's come back to center. Yoi. Subirach. Bring. Yoi. Seiza. All right. Today's meditation, I just want you to go over all 6 of those blocks. And I want you to think about an attack that's coming towards you and how to quickly defend each one of those attacks with one of these simple 6 blocks that we talked about today. 6, 8. Okay? Rokuso. Boxo yeme, sen yure. Tate. Yoi. Sudach. Great. Yoi. Os. Thank you, students, for joining me for this part 1 on this street fighting style blocks, these real style blocks, and hopefully you'll join me next week for part 2, where we kind of go over some counters to these really quick blocks. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week.